Good evening, everyone. Welcome to At America TV. My name is Aninda, one of the e-guides here in At America. It's really nice to see you all. We hope you all doing well and staying safe at home. For those of you just joined us for the first time, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We have moved temporarily to a digital platform so you can enjoy our events from the comfort of your own home. On this event, we'll be having Global Entrepreneurship Week, personal branding through social media. But before we begin, let's break the ice with a little trivia. The question for today is, what are some of the things we can improve in our social media branding? Is it A, the people with whom you engage, B, the identity of your brand, C, your design and content, or D, all of the above? You can start typing your answers on our social media because in the end of the event, we'll do a live shout out for those of you who can guess the answer correctly. Other than that, don't forget to take a selfie and tag Ad America's Instagram account. Without further ado, please welcome our today's moderator, Adrian Hafiz, co-founder of Collaborasi.co. Time is yours.
All right. Thank you and good evening, everyone. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Adrian Hafiz. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Collaborasi.co. We are a venture building companies focusing on helping young entrepreneurs and startup founders to build their business. So, in tonight's sessions, we're gonna have our mentors, Mas Ivan Lalamantik. But first, I'm gonna introduce him for you guys, so you know what kind of new lessons and new insight that you're gonna have tonight. Mr. Ivan Lalamantik, or we usually call him Mas Ivan, is my fellow workers and my fellow partners. We've been working together since 4 years ago. A little bit background about himself. He graduated from University of Indonesia and taking a bachelor of law, and then after that he continued to pursue the studies for the master degree in University of California, Berkeley. And after that, he worked for several law firms, the top and prominent law firm in Indonesia, before finally starting his own business. Currently, he is the co-founder and CEO of Lexar ID, a startups that focus on helping entrepreneurs solve their legal and administrative issues with solutions that are affordable, professionals, and also friendly for people who don't really understand about legals. So that's a little bit background about Mas Ivan. And tonight he gonna share with us about his journey on building his personal branding in social media and also in real life. Because in startup industry currently, Mas Ivan is one of the top young lawyer that has been trusted by many venture capitals to handle their legal related issues. So without further ado, please invite Mas Ivan to the stage, and Mas Ivan will start the presentation right away. Time and state is yours, brother.
Okay. Thank you, Adrian. So I'm gonna share my screen right now. Just let me know if you can see the screen. Can you confirm, Adrian?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So thanks again, Adrian, for the introduction. So hi all. My name is Ivan. Uh, Ivan Alamentik. You can call me Ivan. I am a CEO and a co-founder of Lexar. Well, as Adrian mentioned earlier, Lexar is basically we can say it's like a small law firm, but slash in legal administrative agency. Where in Indonesia, it's pretty hard to get some of like best quality service with the most affordable and in a friendly manners for for the startups and also for the foreign enterprise that wants to establish or they want to expand to Indonesia. So that's like a little background of what I'm currently doing. So in these sections, I'm going to present you the my journey basically to build my own personal branding, not only through social media, but also I'm gonna share to you like what are uh, the factors that also impact to my for me to build my own venture. So like I've been doing this entrepreneurship for about 4 to 5 years without any outside investment, and we are still doing this a bit. We can say a bit positively and sustainable. So I'm gonna also share you some insights on how did I do that, and also some takeaways for you to start like having a good mindset on building a personal branding. So let's talk about building a personal branding. Yeah. So we start from the definition itself. What is actually a personal branding? Well, as mentioned in the slide, personal branding is the act of individuals promoting themselves and their vocation as brands. In short, personal branding entails capturing and promoting an individual's strength and uniqueness to a target audience. Uh, by bolding this statement, we need to ensure that we understand the first factor is that we want to the personal branding itself is to capture and promoting the individual strength. That's the first factor, and then the second one will be the uniqueness. Okay, and then the third will be uh, with, with the both strength and uniqueness, we need to know who's the target audience. Personal branding has become an effective way communication between a person and their respective publics, differentiating them from their competitors based on uniqueness and distinct values. So, by building my, so I've been building my personal branding not from the day that I graduated for my bachelor degree. Well, actually, it was a bit before that when I was in still in campus when I was in a bachelor degree. So what I did was I'm differentiating myself with the other student at the time by having a different approach on the way I study, and also a bit different approach on the way I communicate with the professors at the time. I was more into looking like when I study at the bachelor degree, my style was like a bit more into US based education system, the Socratic method. So every time I go to the classroom, I ask questions. So that makes me a bit quite different with the other students at the time. It doesn't make me like the brightest student, no, but it does really make a quite a different, and also among other students knows that, oh, Ivan is like the person who are really active in the classroom. So that's like the very starting point on me building my personal branding at the time when I was in the campus in bachelor degree. And then uh, we need to also understand that this is still in theory, and I'm going to share you like the implementation and relate to my own personal branding. So the first thing is to know who am I, and then the second will be the why am I here, and then the third will be what can I offer. The fourth will be we also need to love to learn more. So I'm giving you some example. Pardon my picture here. It was for my company. So if I define myself, who am I? Well, I define myself as a entrepreneur and a lawyer. So I'm a founder of Lexar, and also I share. I'm stressing that I have some achievement that I have achieved some quite good award in Asia Law Portals 30 People to Watch in Business Law in 2019. And then I also held a position as a vice chairman of Alumni Association Faculty of Law, Universitas Indonesia. So uh, it was 3 years ago. So it was like around 2019, 19 at that time, and I was the the youngest vice chairman at that time, because among other a person who also helped running the alumni association are from the batch of like early 90s, when like I think when they get into campus, that was like the period when I was born. So it is quite a huge gap year age at that time with my colleague in the alumni association, and I also got some award from the Australian Awards awardee in 2019. Oh, and not forget to mention that I also won the award from the Young Southeast Asia Leaders Initiative that was I think it's still a program in the U.S. Embassy in Indonesia, especially Southeast Asia. So I think at that time it was the second or third batch at that time. So I got that award as well in 2015 or 2016. So that's how I define myself on who am I. And then moving on into the what can I offer.
Sorry, Fan, before you continue, maybe
Yes.
you accidentally turned off your camera. Can you kindly turn it on?
Oh, okay, okay. Wait. Let
Yeah, I
me.
thought you misclicked it somewhere. Nah, okay, now we got to see you.
Okay,
Okay, please continue, bro.
okay. Sorry. Okay. So the next would be the what can I basically offer, right? So I position myself as not only as a lawyer but also as an entrepreneur. So if you can see, this is my bio in my Instagram. It's previously it was public, but right now I turn it into private because I currently only share some private matters like from to friends and family. So I define myself as a lawyer by education and entrepreneur by action. So that's like a pretty bold statement. So every stranger when they visit my Instagram account, and then they will see that, oh, okay, Ivan is a lawyer by education, meaning that he has graduated from law schools, and then Ivan also built his own venture by, if we can see on a mention below, I'm also a CEO of three companies here, Lexar, Lextex, and Domicilio.id. So these are like the things that I basically what can I offer to my audience. And then the third will be why I'm here. So if you can see on the picture on the right, that was 4 years ago. It was the first or the second batch of 1,000 startup at that time. So it was a very new program. It's a national program. We got invited by the committee to join as a speaker there, and I was very delighted at that time because the audience, it was if I'm not mistaken, it was in a 10 cities across Indonesia, and we managed to like went by plane in 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. So every time I went to the city that I'm making some speech at that time, they were very happy about what I shared, just because there was a very lack of information on those series and regarding my knowledge, and very little people wants to share those matters. Yeah, so I feel like I really can make an impact at that time. So that's to define myself why I'm here. And then the fourth will be to love to learn more. So if you can see the picture on the right, that was I think 4 years ago. Adrian, you're on the very left, and then if you can see on the third upright, it was the Ministry of Communication Parudiantara. So it was like 4 to 5 years ago. We as from the private and also from the community had some advocacies to the government, and we were welcome not only by the government but also by the
Hello, Ivan. Is it my connection that is lost, or is it on your side? Okay, everyone. I think we are missing Ivan, but I think can you guys continue heard what Ivan is saying, or is it my connection is lost?
The connection lost.
Oh, so it's Ivan's connections, right? Okay, so
Ya Mas Adrian boleh tolong bantu nyalakan videonya. Thank you. Sambil kita menunggu Mas Ivan.
yes.
okay.
Hi all. Sorry.
Nah, iya Mas Ivan.
Oh, yeah, we just lost you, bro. You can continue now,
Okay.
please.
Sorry. I just missed that. Okay. So can you see the screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, what are the common mistakes in personal branding? So, a lot of people are not confident enough or for being themselves. So that's like the first common mistakes. And the second one would be to having no goals. So I will share to you like why did I do that? Because I had a goal. Since on the in a campus, I had a goal to become the first thing is to become an entrepreneur. And then when I graduated, I know my goals is to become like the youngest lawyers that can have my own company or my own firm. So that should be like the mindset for you to having a goal. And then the third will be to ignore the suggestion from others. So we need to discuss. We need to communicate with others, especially with the people who already had the more experience than us. So we need to discuss and then having some chat to them and also ask for their recommendation or suggestions. And then the fourth would be to not interested for collaborating with others. So as I mentioned earlier from the pictures that I shared, I really when I do my own venture, I really keen to collaborate with others because I know that it's going to impact to my this not only to the business but also to my personal branding as well. And then the fourth will be don't have a personal social media. So that's like the I mean like in this digital era, you need to have your presence in digitally, but also need to do the content making in ethically as well. Okay, and then what are the factors that could contribute to building the personal brand? So these are like the factors you can choose by offline networking. For instance, you go to a conference, to workshop, and just making sure when you go to those offline networking, you also need to differentiate yourself with the others as well. By what? By having a like your let's say you have like a consistent clothing. For instance, like you like to wear a black shirt, and it would be a branding that you always wear a black shirt, let's say. And then when you go to the offline networking, you also need to bring your own business card. Right now, probably it's more relevant to LinkedIn, and then I'm gonna share it to you like what is my LinkedIn account profile, and I'm going to share to you like some of the tips that what you should write on your LinkedIn, and then you can go with the road of personal blog or micro blogging. You can write down an articles, even just very simple to tweeting on the Twitter. And then the third will be the video photo sharing. You can do some content creating, creator making with the making a video and then upload it on YouTube and be consistent on that one. And then the other factors as well as you can see on the slides here. So what are the golden rules for personal branding? So the first one to be you need to have a very laser focus. Okay, too many people are unconfused. Sometimes at the age of like probably early 20s, when you are just graduated from campus, you probably still don't know what to do, and then don't know what you want to focus on and something. But just be uh, curious. Just be curious about almost probably we can say anything, but you also need to maintain your focus on several things that might impactful to your career as well. So decide what your ultimate goals and stick to it. Meaning, from my experience, I decided my goal uh, when I took my master degree. So it was not in my previously when I graduated from the bachelor, and then I went to the 2 years to work, and then I went to the master degree. When I want to graduate to in my master degree, I didn't. I still looking what I wanna do in the future, in the near future. So I rediscover myself by having talking to friends and some and the others to having more suggestion on my focus. So by the time I graduated on my master, it was in my 20 I think it's 2016 or 17. I know what I want to do. So I know at the time I'm going to focus on building my own venture. So I started to be an entrepreneur and also servicing with my education background as a lawyer. And then the second one, once you know what to focus, you need to be consistent. So be consistent is very important. Um, not not only to build a venture but also to build a personal brand. So when I graduated my bachelor until right now, I'm still consistent to be a lawyer for startups, especially after I uh, especially after I graduated my master. So I'm very very consistent on the way I'm making my personal branding on that. And then the third will be to tell a story. Well, uh, to tell a story is very important, especially when you are still not well connected, not well networked. So you need to make some connections. You need the story to in order for you to build a connection to the other networks as well. And then the fourth will be to create a positive impact. So after you've developed your personal brand, well, it could be beneficial for future careers. What I mean is that the first 2 3 years, I built the name is a startup legal clinic. So I built a legal clinic. It was a voluntary work. I didn't get paid almost at all, but I got very fortunate that my project accepted on the YCLD program at the time. But other than that, we didn't get any revenue at all. What we are focusing is to educate the market at that time, to educate the startup founders. So I created a very very positive impact at that time, and then by having connection to founders, startup founders with the pro bono work, voluntary works. They then recognize me as as a lawyer, and I get the fruitful uh, future deals afterwards. Like uh, after I finished the startup Leo Clinic, I built the Lexar. Uh, we don't really know what was like how did I get the client at that time, but because the strength of my personal branding, it was very uh, it's not a it, it's very fortunate at that time. The first year we can not only survive but also profitable, but that's because of the personal branding. So people already know me, and I have invested my time to know better with them, with the pro bono works at the time, because they weren't wealthy, they weren't have any money at the time. But once I built my own firm, they already got some investment, they already got some fund, and they can spend some of their fund to having a service that I can offer. So that's like the investment for me, right? So the personal branding really relates to my uh, success in my venture in Lexa. In fact, 90% of our revenue comes from my personal branding. So if you can check on my on Lexar Instagram or Lexar social media account, yeah, we rarely post or update it in regularly, but we are able to be sustainable. The most contributing factor because of my personal branding. Many people knows me in terms of what can I offer, and they refer to other people. So that's going to be like uh, the 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 last remaining point of the golden rules. Fifth is the be genuine. So I know that I want to be entrepreneur, but I also want to help people. I have an experience and also expertise in a legal background, so I'm genuine to people that even if they don't have any money, or like they don't want they looks that they probably cannot afford, or whatsoever regarding the commercial thing. But if I have a if if I want to help, which at first my branding was like on helping the founders. They like us because of we are very genuine when we talk and we discuss about their issues. And then the sixth would be the be ready to fail. Yeah, I mean, like not every uh, effort that you made on building your personal branding will not going to be good or progressively okay. But yeah, when you having a mindset that the failure basically is a lessons for you to progress, then it's already a good mindset for that. And then the seven would be to follow a successful example. So when I started my venture at that time, I knew uh, who the person that I want to look up into. So at the time, it was my boss. So I looked into him, and right now, when I started my company, I left my job at the firm. I can have a connection with them by having a partnership. The previous my previous boss was regularly refer us client. So that's like the way that you can make some fruitful connection with them, be good to them, and follow the example that you know that already successful. And then the last one will be to leave a legacy. So personal brand with the reputation and community behind it. The next step is to think about the legacy. So what are the legacy that you want to leave behind? So for me, I want to leave like the education one. So I often go to this kind of workshop or seminars that I want to share my knowledge. So I want to leave the legacy to the youngsters and also to the people that probably want to be like me or be want to be more than like me. So and then I'm going to share with you like the relevant on my personal branding on the education perspective. So education is important. What really important is the branding of the university or the education itself. So if I can say to you bluntly, in a practical, in a real world, mostly they won't ask about your GPA. Your GPA only relevant when you are applying to the job. Probably some of the companies want to have at least a threshold of a 3.5 GPA and such. But once you get into like top universities, they knew you that you are graduated from university A, B, or C. So I knew this is like the how the real work happens. So after I graduated from my bachelor degree, University of Indonesia, I took some courses, yeah, in Berlin, Humboldt University. And when I want to go to my master degree, I knew I want to go to the US, only US, no other country that I want to go because of the branding of the US universities are the top notch. So I just need to refocus again on which university that I want to go. So at that time, I know that I really like the startup ecosystem industry and such. So I can there are only few names that really top ranking on that and then the place were still relevant today was in Silicon Valley or in the Bay Area, San Francisco to the Silicon Valley and Bay Area. So there are only two universities there. The first one will be the first time probably the Stanford, and the second one will be University of California, Berkeley. So I took my chance to choose the public university one, which is the University of California, Berkeley, and I got it with a full scholarship from the government. It's called the LPDP, and then not only to taking some my master degree courses there, I also keen to learn more by having a class offline and one semester class in Stanford University. So I took some courses, innovation related courses in Stanford, where I met many people from that works in tech companies from Google, Facebook, and such. So that's like the really important thing about the education. So many in real life, what really matters are like where did you graduated? If it's a top-notch university, yeah, you will get more access into a good alumni network. And then branding social media, LinkedIn. So what really impactful for me in social media for building my personal branding and in my business is to use the LinkedIn. I often get clients from LinkedIn just because I manage to uh, fill in most of the information that provided. I mean, like need to be provided in the profile. But not only that, the way we write on the on the description section, it's really important. So if you can see this is an example for me. So my experience. This is the founder of Lexar, 4 years. Yeah, I mentioned this as a paragraph, and And then if you can see on the very right is when I was started the first started to work at the Marcus and Partners. It's a top tier law firm in Indonesia. So I only worked 1 year there. But how as a just a 1 year working experience guy can make a uh, can make a client just only to having a 1 year or 2 years experience and build their own business and then can make a client through LinkedIn. So what I mentioned in the description box here is that I highlight. So I knew that 1 year is not enough lah. If people only see the period, if only people, the stranger only see, oh, you're just 1 year experience in this firm. What really matters is actually not the year, but the experience. So I describe what I experienced when I was there. Only in 1 year, I managed to work in a 38 projects. So 38, it almost like a three project in a month, yeah. But and it's a very big project, yeah, not a small project. And what are the matters that I involve in those projects? I also mentioned that. So, for instance, I managed to conduct some legal assistance in corporate actions and spin-off in IPO, merger and acquisition, and such. So those are like the matters that mostly are relevant to more than 5 year experience people. So I show to the audience that in only a very short time, I managed to work a very great load and have a more wide experience compared to others. So this is like the way that we need to mention our achievement and our experience. And then by having a positive impact here, as I mentioned earlier, I really like to share the knowledge and such. So and on the latest, as I mentioned that I work in a alumni association, I really keen to share with the among with the others colleague from the seniors, and the last one that I managed to get some. I'm moderating director of University of Indonesia and also some of the top of government officials as well. So the last takeaway here is to focus on your life goals. Just really be trying to be yourself, know your personal best, and make progress on it by creating a positive impact to your personal branding for your future careers. So yeah, that's all that I can share to you. Probably um, Adrian can have some more questions,
Sure.
digging some, extracting some my experience to
All
share with
right.
the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mas Ifan, for the sharings. Yeah, so we understand that there's a lot of techniques and there's some golden rules or golden principles that we can follow. But as I work with Ifans for almost 5 years, I guess I can validate all of his achievement there, especially when he mentioned that most of the clients for the business, the Kalexar, is coming from referral that is generated from Ivan's personal branding. So I'm gonna throw some question fun before we jump into the audience, right? So when you mentioned there is a lot of achievement, a lot of credibility, working here, working there, some educational background. So my first question is for our audience there that still in the university, maybe they're on the third year or fourth year who currently trying to apply for some internship or for a part-time job to enrich their experience, especially nowadays because of the online colleagues learning. Many college student already apply for an internship since even semester 1 or semester 2. Is there any tips for
Mm.
our friend out there who is still in university and maybe still doesn't have that much of credential that they can put on LinkedIn or in social media? How to build the personal branding for them to make it easier when they want to apply for an internship or a part-time job?
Okay. Okay, thank you, Adrian. So I'm gonna I'm gonna talk to you in a more real situation here, yeah. So if we say that you need to sharpening your CVs and having more experience there and there, well, that could contribute, but in reality, what we can uh, what the most impactful is referral. So how do we can get a referral from? So how we can get referral is actually to having a good um, network with the seniors. Yeah, especially if you're still a college student. So you having a good network with the seniors, not only to just be friend, not only to be just to be a friend, yeah, but also to be curious to what they are doing, to what they are focusing. So you show some compassionate with the seniors. Or let's say you wanna intern in a company A. Let's say a company A. It's a marketing agency. Let's say, yeah, and then uh, the senior, and then you approach him, and then you're having some discussion about what they are doing with the job and such, and then be compassionate, yeah, be patient as well to ask them a question, and then having some brainstorming and such. By having that, the our counterpart will then recognize you, will then acknowledge you, that you are a person that are really having some passionate in what areas, right? And that's like and then that person could refer you to company A, B, C, or and then. So that's like the reality. If you want to go into a more not a direct approach, but a more strategic approach, if I can say, right? Because if you want to sharpen up your CV, you go to this committee, and then you're going to compete with a lot of people based on papers, right?
All
Yeah,
right.
that's my.
So Mas Ivan is saying that if you don't have that much of credentials or achievement, you need to be more active on the networking side. For example, to the
Yes.
alumni, to the seniors. All right, awesome. So I'm gonna go to the second question, Fan. What you mentioned before is talking about like the proof of work, right? That we put on the our social media to strengthen our branding. My question is, what about showing our characters? I mean, some peoples are having the similar background and also the similar professional achievement, but maybe what they want to put as their uniqueness is because they are humble or because they are helpful or maybe because they are very, very smart or something like that. Is there any tips for you on showing the character, because character is something really hard to tell through social
Yeah.
media, right? I know
Yes.
you very well,
Okay.
and your personal character is somehow hard to understand if people just read your LinkedIn. But
Okay.
maybe if
So
some people want to uphold their character, highlight their character as part of their personal branding or professional branding, do you have any tips on that one?
so a character uh is very hard. It's something that's very hard to write, because if you write like let's say
Unhumble.
Ivan is a humble person, then I'm just claiming that I'm humble, right? It's like
Yeah.
over claims probably, right? So what are like the things that we can do? The first one probably it's to get a testimonial, right? To get a testimonial from other person. For instance, like on LinkedIn, you can get testimonials there from the people who you already have worked with. Get some credentials there. And then the second would be to be consistent on your on your social media. Yeah, because nowadays, I mean, like more the HR team, if they can narrow down the person, they will then filtering you out through the social media as well. So like be ethical on your postings. Yeah. So that's also showing your character as well, right? If you are like a person who also likes to gossip, let's say, and then they will see that you are following some gossip accounts, let's say, right? So whether that kind of character is liked or not by the employer, that could also impact to your career, personal branding as well.
All right, that's very interesting because I never thought before that. For example, I follow A or B or C that is kind of not safe for work account. Maybe the HR person will check who am I following and then get, oh my god, this guy follow like five different lambe account, gossip account, right? And it will somehow affect our personal branding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
All right. By the way, for our audience here, for our friends who already have some questions, you guys can kindly write down on the chat sections, and then we're gonna read some of the good questions regarding to how to setting up your personal branding, how to set up your LinkedIn account, your Instagram account, or maybe some related to even experience. All right, fun. I get questions related to your uh, master degree in the US. How do you compare how people represent their personal branding back in the States and here in Indonesia? Maybe let's narrow down to personal branding for college student and for fresh jobbers. And what's the difference? And also, what can we learn from them? We know that in America, in the States, people are very easy to connect, right? They build their branding naturally because they already grew up with technology since before we know internet. And what can you share to our friends here as an audience about some of your takeaways from the States related to building a personal branding?
Okay, so I think it's a so there are a huge gap on culture. Yeah, the first thing is the culture, right? Uh, we are Indonesian, Asian culture, yeah, and then live in the US, which a very completely different culture. But if we can narrow down, US is also a big country, right? So uh, where I had some experience was in Bay Area, San Francisco area. So there was in California. So there was a lot of Asians there. Uh, if you can compare to another place, Midwest or in another region, another area states, probably it's quite different. But luckily, when I choose California nearby there, I was actually a bit quite having a culture shock, yeah, on the way they are really not only chill but also uh, a very approachable. Yeah. So one of my takeaway is that don't be afraid to not to approach, yeah, but to talk to people. Yeah. Uh, they are really open minded. Yeah. In terms of like if you want to talk about ABC and even to strangers, we can. It's not rare that you can see a lot of people just say hi to other people to strangers. So that's like a things that can also be replicated here. Yeah. And then well on the personal branding for the college student here and there, uh, it's generally are the same, but they are at least in my campus, yeah, at that time they are really ambitious on the way they want to their towards their goal. So I think like one of the good takeaway is that even in the bachelor level, yeah, they knew what they want to do. They knew like the career path. They knew the what profession, what career they wanna pursue, even from the bachelor degree one. While in here, sometimes we are still confused. Yeah, let's face a reality. I mean, like from my uh, faculty of law, uh, not all be lawyers, not all be a judge or go to legal professions, but many go to a different road afterwards, and that's quite different in the US, where when you have decided to go to this specific, mostly they will pursue a career in that areas as well. So yeah, that's like my takeaway lah, to differentiate
Got it.
here.
Yeah, maybe because in the States, people are overflowed by the information of how they can be that's make them more ambitious, and it makes them clearer about their goals since in the university, so they can set out the plan for their personal branding, right? Okay, awesome. Before we continue, let's check. Is there any question from you guys? Let's kindly type it down. I'm currently checking on the Zoom one and on the YouTube one. While we're waiting for the questions from our audience, I get the next question for you, Fan. So, related to branding, nowadays, even in Instagram, that used to be a personal branding and personal, content channel. Now we see many people's regarding their levels, regarding their stage, is creating some sort of educational post to build a thought leaderships on certain expertise. For example, I want to be seen as a content writer, and then I'm creating a post like carousel post on Instagram. Three things that we can learn from, for example, from Squid Game related to content marketing. And we see that many people are trying to building those kind of thought leadership by creating those content. And what's your take on that one? Because I don't see that you also create that kind of carousel content. Is there any different strategy between creating like the original content? I don't know how to say that. Is it an original content? Yeah, educational content to build thought leadership, or rather than your strategy, which is like showing off your experience in the link in descriptions.
Okay, so the first thing is to know your goal, right? So every person uh, who then go to a different road has different goals as well. So my goal was not to be a content creator. I'm not going to make money from advertising or to from like that kind related revenue stream of the content creator need. Yeah, but I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that uh, it's just a different goal with me. So I can share you one of the thing that I have. We at Lexer have a client. Uh, so this client is actually so it's a company co-founded by three people. Those three people individually have their own very good personal branding. They made their own content in financial in the education. So the founder A really keen to make a content in investment, and the founder B really keen to make a content in personal finance. Founder B really keen to make a content in a more general finance, and they created this company which also in a financial education one. So well, their goal probably is quite different with me, but if I can see from their perspective, they can make two revenues from the company and from themselves. So
So it's
that's not
just
the
two different strategies, right?
yeah, it's just a different strategy. So they can, I mean, like if your goals is also to make is a wealth or rich or money, which is not wrong, yeah. Then you can have a strategy that you build your own personal brand, commercialize it by creating a content, and then having a company that also could generate revenue as well, and then your personal branding entails to the company as well to make the company growth faster. Then it could benefit not only you but also to others as well with the company. So it's not. I mean, it's good strategy, but it's just different goal.
All right, all right, all right. Noted. So for every one of you that's still thinking on, maybe I should create some kind of educational carousel post. That's totally good strategy. That's totally fine. You can
Totally
continue.
fine.
Maybe Ivan is not a kind who like to create that kind of post, but as Ivan mentioned, that's also a good strategy that you can pursue, right? Because all of us have different markets, right? And then after that, I'm gonna ask a little bit technical questions, Fan, because I'm trying to sit in our audience shoes and thinking about maybe they just want they want to start their own career, they just graduate. So I have this question that I also had a few years back when on LinkedIn or in Instagram regarding to connecting with new peoples, right? So, for example, I knew Fia previously from our offline interaction. Fia here is one of the team from at America, and then I knew her from our work experience together back then. After that, because I already knew her, I followed her on LinkedIn and on Instagram. But since 2 years ago, because we meet less people offline, many of us new people through online platforms. For example, through this kind of events or through, revert by our friends. So sometimes when we want to add them or follow them or Instagram or in LinkedIn, there's kind of hesitations. Do I know this person, or is it normal to add this person even though maybe I haven't really introduced myself in offline, or should I add some notes or something? Because we still need to add our new connections, right? We still need to add new friends, but because of this pandemic, maybe our first introduction moment is through online, is through LinkedIn. So do you have any suggestion or tips on how to build new connection on LinkedIn? For example, you liked one of your colleagues post on LinkedIn, so it appear on my homepage on LinkedIn, and I wanna, for example, uh, introduce myself to the friend of yours, to the second circles. What's the best practice that you had learned in the past few years?
Okay. So on the following method, on the following stuff here, it's actually uh, social media is a public domain. It's a public. Okay. Once you have your profile, you have your description, information, photos, videos, and such in social media, people can access. Whether you have put in a private or not, or in public, still several people. If you're in a private, several people that still your connection can see your post, right? And then when you put on public, many people can follow you. But what really so if you want to make so if you say is it okay for you to follow or not, I think since it's a public domain, uh, well, ethical. There is a less ethical way if you don't if you want to follow someone. So just follow because they have put their profile to be on a public to be followed, and if they are on a private mode, uh, it's their decision whether they want to be followed or not by you, right? But if they are in a public account, then whoever can follow them, and their decision as well if they want to remove you as a followers or not. So I mean, like don't hesitate on that. And then
All
the
right.
second one on like to making a connection. So that's a bit tricky one. So you need to have you need to have some relevance. What is a relevance? Relevance is a uh, you can make a statement, or you can make just a one, two, three words that uh, that catching their attention. So, for instance, if I add someone on LinkedIn, I want to connect with them, and I DM them, direct message them. What I usually say is, if I have relevance on the connections, I can say, hey, I'm a friend of Adrian, or hi, X. Adrian refers you to me as a X. Right? Uh, I'm working on this. Can I talk to you further on this prospective project that we can do together? So um, you can make it short, yeah, but very catchy and make them wanna read, and then it's like a bait, yeah. You bait them to basically get the attention, and from there you can then just yeah, smoothen up with your communication strategy lah.
All right. So when we want to introduce ourselves to the second circle, or for example on LinkedIn, or the third circle on LinkedIn, it should be better if we add some message notes that create a relevance, right?
Yeah,
That's
relevance and
also a good
reference,
point.
sorry.
And
To
reference, yeah,
point, yeah, and reference as well.
and reference. Okay, so maybe I come to my last question. This question is related because also you are a lawyer. When we are talking about branding in social media, you also mentioned that social media is a public domain, right? But we see nowadays many people got sued legally by other people because they feel attacked or they feel disturbed, and using UU ITE, for examples, as the reason, as the cause to sue you because the discomfort that we created. Maybe you can share, like, for us, what is the limitations for us to post when it comes to uh, giving out or saying out loud our opinion related to something, so we don't cross the line of law, because it's kind of blurry. Many of my friends got, maybe not shoot legally, but got turned off or deactivated by Instagram or by Facebook because they post something. For example, they don't think that word is related to bullying, but Facebook detected it as a bullying or have a inappropriate content, so it got turned off. So in your relevance experience in law, what is the limitation or what is the safe zone when we want to speaking about our opinion regarding to something, maybe to amplify our personal branding because it related to that topic? So what is the limit?
Okay, so I think this is not a simple answer, yeah, on this, yeah. So if I can
We don't know, because maybe one of our audience is like a famous content creator that facing this concern, so I'm just gonna want to address that.
okay, so I think uh, first thing is that uh, when we decide to use a social media platform, we need to understand that any information or document or video, photo, and such, when we upload it or when we post it, it's out of our hands. We don't really own that. Okay. So, for instance, if you post in a Facebook, well, basically, if you can see the terms and condition, yeah, you have given them the some of the your rights, including the ownership of the photo, video, and such, yeah, and the copyright and such. So that's the main thing, yeah. And by having you by using a platform, social media platform, for instance, like Facebook, yeah, you are in their world. Okay. So by by be a person in another world, which in that world has their own terms, have their own laws, quote unquote, right? So it's they have a freedom to control the content, right? We as a use that kind of user generated content can be taken off, can be deleted or such by their TMs, by their terms and conditions, and sometimes we cannot do anything about it. So it's a yeah, we need to understand that that's the principle first. Yeah, when we are doing the social media, we're using a service uh, of a company, which if we can think again, most of our usage in social media are free. We don't pay at all, right? So if it's free, then basically we are the what are so
We are the products.
we are the products, right? So by being a product, they can quote unquote control the content, control the product. Okay, that's the first thing, and then the second one, the limitation. So we have to distinguish two things here. The first one is the ethical, and then the second one is the laws. So um, by ethical is that we need to know our moral ethics on what we usually do in real life. Yeah, when you want to say something to your elderly, let's say you don't in Indonesian we don't say it by name, right? So it's different when we are in another country, but our culture says that. So it just I mean, like ethically, if you want to implement some ethical in social media, just um, assume that it's still a real word,
It's
right?
a real word. Yeah.
So, but the tricky part is that if you write something on a social media, there is no intonation
Yeah.
because it's a word. Yeah, it's a word, right? It's not something that you speak of. If you speak something, you have intonation. Sometimes we have a, stop
Gesture.
and comma,
Yeah.
full stop and comma and such. But so that could differentiate the meaning of our on our intention on the on the content. So be uh, be ethical, yeah. And then the second on the loss, I it's I cannot answer it simply, but uh, it's there's some gray clauses in a laws that sometimes we need to avoid, yeah,
Yeah.
by simply by just being ethical in the social media.
Businessman
We
ethical.
can, yeah, we can avoid that.
All right. So the takeaways is, guys, first, assume that we are coming to other person worlds and we need to understand the rules and the laws and that world. So, for example, you guys want to post in Instagram or in LinkedIn, maybe it's good to read a bit about the terms and condition, what to post and what not to post. And also the second one is thinking about, let's assume what we post in the social media is the things that we actually do in the real world. So the ethical become our moral compass because the legal part is still in the gray area. So we need to be more careful on that. All right, Ivan, because there is no questions from the audience, maybe to close tonight's sessions, you have one or two closing statement, Fan. If there is one thing, one takeaways that the audience can remember from this session, what would it be regarding to building a personal branding?
Okay. I think I have two things. Have a goal, be consistent.
Awesome. Have a goals and be consistent. Thank you so much for your time and also for your share about your experience and about the insight regarding to personal brandings. Thank you so much for you guys, the audience who's been watching with us since 1 hour ago. So I think it's enough for tonight's sessions. I'm gonna pass the stage to at America team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mas Ivan and Mas Adrian, for the insightful session. Earlier in this event, we asked our audience, the question of the day was, what are some of the things we can improve on our social media branding? And the correct answer is D, all of the above. Shout out to @AntonJunet from Instagram for answering correctly. Thank you to everyone who has participated to our question of the day. Don't forget to tune in next time and catch a chance to get a live shoutout from us. Now, you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea with a place like this? Very easy, you can go to our website at www.america.org.id, select create a program, and go collaborate with us. All the events proposals will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. Well, that wraps this episode. It's been fun. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. You can follow us on our social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ATAmerica. You can get fun content and so much more. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, thanks for joining us. My name is Aninda and bye-bye.